The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games were missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, shout out to everyone out there in the world today. It's January 30th. What's today, Pops? Tuesday? Good Tuesday night to you guys, wherever you're at in the world. Hope you guys are doing well. You know, smash that like button, smash the like button on the playback, all that good stuff. You guys know we got Pops here. And look, man, there's so much going on in boxing that we're gonna talk about. This won't just be about Conor Benn versus Pete Dobson, but I gotta say, man, and maybe I'm alone, Pops. I can't speak for the world. I can only speak. BT can only speak for BT.
Right.
I'm excited about Pete Dobson versus Conor Benn. You know, one of the reasons I'm excited about this fight is because I think the trash talking today, which, by the way, Pops, I didn't realize this until Pete Dobson posted a clip of himself, his version of the
whole thing,
the face of his Conor Benn. But Matchroom actually edited the altercation to make it look like Pete Dobson was scared of Conor Benn. Because there are certain things that he said that didn't make it into the actual DAZN Matchroom YouTube channel. So,
oh my God,
interesting stuff there. But a lot to discuss when it comes to Pete Dobson versus Conor Benn. Because look, Pops, I've been on social media. You know, I've actually went on YouTube. I've listened to other people's opinions on the fight, and I'm not trying to put anybody down. Like, shout out to everybody trying to make boxing content. Shout out to everybody who's trying to build their channel. You know, because I've been there before. I know how it is. You know, but man, I gotta tell you, I was surprised hearing people talk with how little they knew about not just Pete Dobson, which I expected. I expected people to not know about Pete Dobson because there's not a lot of footage out there on him. And truthfully, you're not going to really have a good perspective on Pete unless you've been in the gym with him recently or the last couple of years, because he hasn't really been fighting on TV, right? So I'm not surprised about that. But what shocked me was how little people knew about Conor Benn, because I could just tell by the way they were talking about his style and whatnot that they've been drinking a little bit too much of the DAZN Matchroom propaganda and Kool-Aid. That's my opinion. So look, I'm gonna give my best breakdown possible. You know, I will be at the fight come February 4th out there in Vegas. Right now, no, February 3rd. This Saturday in Vegas. So if you guys gonna be out there, let me know. It'll be a good time. But yeah, before we get into Conor Benn and Pete Dobson, because there's a lot to talk about, let's take some time to acknowledge the fine folks that are already here. Now we got a super chat, and I gotta give a tip of my cap to this brother right here for the super chat, but not just for the super chat, because this man right here, he's been on the YouTube boxing community probably a little longer than me. I mean, I've been here longer than most, but he was here probably a little bit before me. So shout out to Boxing Wave. He says, "Good job on the interview." What's up, Pops? He wants to know what's up. So.
Yeah, God bless Boxing Wave. I check out your channel. I don't go on a company. You're doing a great job. You're getting your views and everything. You know your stuff, guys. If you want to see a good breakdown on a lot of fights, down to the gritty, this is the man you need to go to. One
of the channels you got to go to. I got a lot of respect for anybody who's been here as long as Boxing Wave. So we appreciate you, Boxing Wave. And by the way, guys, because I didn't say it in the beginning, so let me say it now. Today is day number 11 in our 90 days of boxing live series. So listen, man, we're being professional. We're doing what we got to do. I told you guys 11 days ago that I would go live every single day. I think the date was like April 19th for 90 days. So far, we have not wavered, and we're going to continue being disciplined. We're going to continue being professional and give you guys that world-class boxing content. And as far as that interview that he's talking about, Boxing Wave is a fellow New Yorker as well.
Right.
That was a good interview. Right. I feel like Pete said a lot in that interview, and it's his time to show what he can do at that world-class level. But let's take some time to acknowledge other cons before we get into Pete. Thank you for the super chat. Miguel says, I had Pistol Pete stopping Conor Benn in the 4th or 5th round. Okay. Bold prediction. I don't know if I will predict it that early, but if he's going to stop him, but definitely an interesting prediction. Eddie Morales said, what's up, BT and Pops? Good to see Eddie Morales. We got him in the building. Yeah. Hand History Vault says, good evening, BT and Pops. Yes, yes. And we got Mike. We got to always acknowledge Michael. He says, great stuff, guys. Long live the streak. Pistol Pete is paying big time. When is the presser? I don't know when the presser is. I'll probably miss the presser because I'm going to Angelo Leo's fight tomorrow in Plant City. I won't be getting to Vegas till Friday morning. So I'll probably be in time just for the win. So yeah. My man She says Pete looked a little nervous. I mean, it could be interpreted as that. Again, before I get into Pete Dobson and Benn and give my points on the fight and breaking it down stylistically, you gotta understand Matchroom, they posted a version, and I didn't realize this till I watched Pete's version that he posted on his Instagram, that there were some things that Pete told Conor Benn that didn't even make it to the damn Matchroom YouTube video. So I feel like they edited it a certain way to make him look a certain way. But yeah, I'm going to play the version. I want to play it for you guys. I'm going to play it for Pops.
Yeah.
So you guys can see some of what Pete said, and I'll point out to you guys how this version was different than what Matchroom had on their channel. So here's Pete Dobson and Conor Benn and this video is from the official Pete Dobson Instagram. So this is his video. So here it is.
I'm just ready. You just said it. You just said it. I'm ready. Why would I be scared of you? Why would I be scared of you? You just throw hard shots. I already know what you're going to do. Throw hard, round shots. I'm a fucking professional boxer at the highest level, bro. You're just a wild bum. You're a wild, athletic bum. You're athletic with a fast hands, fast feet. I sit down here and talk to you.
Conor don't understand yet.
I see that all the time. I see that shit all the time in the gym. You're not smart. You're a wild bum. I can see you're nervous. I'm nervous. Why not? I'm nervous for you. You look nervous. God, no, much better. You look like a pedophile. Much better. And you short.
All right, so you pretty much heard me say, look, why would I be scared of you? Why would I be nervous? And I'm gonna point out to you guys, the part that didn't make it into the Matchroom version of this was when he told Conor Benn, you don't got no mustache, you look like a pedophile. That part didn't get in there, so they cut that part out, and they went to the part where Conor Benn is pointing out his shoes, and Pete's just like they edited it a certain way. So I didn't like that. I feel like if you're gonna, it's expected, right? Conor Benn's the A-side fighter, right? Yeah. He's the guy that they're promoting, so it comes with the territory. They don't care about Pete. Yeah, it was. Yeah, see, you guys got it. You guys got it right here. Wow. They edited it. You guys are right there. And a lot of you guys want to know how tall is Conor Benn. He's shorter than Pete. Pete's 5'10". Pete's 5'10". So Conor Benn being shorter than him, he look like about 5'8". Not that big. I've seen Conor Benn in real life. He's not that big. He's not that tall. But look, as far as Pete Dobson, right? Let's talk about this because I sat here today, right? I went on YouTube and I looked through all these different channels, some channels I never heard of. And I was watching their predictions on Pete Dobson and the breakdowns of Pete Dobson versus Conor Benn. And nobody really knew what they were talking about. Just being honest. Like they didn't know about Conor Benn and they didn't know about Pete Dobson. So let's start with this because a lot of people don't understand how the hell we even got here. Mm-hmm. How the hell did Pete Dobson just get a fight with Conor Benn? How did Conor Benn pick this guy? So I think before we even get to the breakdown, we gotta unpack that because until you understand how Conor Benn got to this point and how Pete Dobson got to this point, you're just gonna say, "Oh, well, this fight's a cherry pick, this, that, and the third." So let's get to that, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna go to screen share. Make sure you smash that like button. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Now, I was looking at the odds too. I've been looking at the odds all week, and Pete a couple days ago was a plus 500 as an underdog, meaning that if you bet $100 on Pete and he would win, you get $500 for every $100 you bet. Pete is now plus 730.
That's crazy.
So Vegas, they must have watched this today. They must have watched the Matchroom edited version. They said, "Oh, he's scared." He said, "Nah, he don't want to fight Conor Benn." That's what he was saying, right?
They don't know. They don't.
But look, I think when we talk about Conor Benn and Pete Dobson and just how the hell it is we got here, I mean, we got to address the elephant in the room. We know. Some people don't want to address it, but we got to be fair here on True School Sports. It's not hating. It's just reporting you guys the facts as they are.
Just the messenger.
Now we know that Conor Benn, he had that whole clomiphene in his system.
Yeah. And
it wasn't like he couldn't go to the British Boxing Board of Control and get reinstated. They voluntarily, they being Eddie Hearn, Conor Benn, Matchroom Boxing, they voluntarily relinquished their license. So Conor Benn, right now, as it stands, on at this particular time, January 30th, 10-12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he cannot box in the UK. That's part of the reason why he's in the States. That's why he's here. Okay? You got anything you want to chime in when it comes to that?
No, I'm just gonna say with this article right here, basically he's just trying to make it look like he's just giving up his license just like he's a good thing, and hopefully they'll favor him to get his license back. That didn't work with Conor Benn doing that. You know what I mean? He still had to travel over here and fight because the boxing board still didn't want him to be there.
Now look, there's going to be a bunch of semantics whenever Eddie Hearn gets asked a question because he's going to talk about UCAD. No, listen, UCAD cleared him, but the British Boxing Board of Control did it, and there's going to be a whole lot of this spinning around like a top. Now, to Eddie's credit, if Eddie wanted to circumvent Conor Benn boxing in Europe, he could have got a license with the Luxembourg Boxing Board of Control, which is another commission. He decided he doesn't want to do that, so he only wants to fight under the jurisdiction of the British Boxing Board of Control. But nonetheless, they're not boxing in the UK because he tested positive, and they don't want to go through all that right now. So that's why he's here. That's part of the reason why he's here. That's the Conor Benn side of things, and that's the God's honest truth. Now, on the other side, how the hell did Pete Dobson get here? Let's go ahead and let's look at that because a lot of people don't even realize how the hell Pete Dobson got here. Now, first and foremost, Pete Dobson was scheduled to fight not one, but two Eddie Hearn fighters.
Wow.
Middle of last year, he was scheduled to fight the Irishman Kalmin Agjarko. Agjarko, at the very last second, pulled out with an injury. In fact, I'm going to tell you guys how last second the Agjarko injury was when he pulled out.
Right.
I was with Pete Dobson at this gym here in South Florida called Contenders Boxing Gym out there in Fort Lauderdale. And when he got the news, I literally heard him flip out in the gym. I did an interview like right there at the gym when he found out the news. So he had a signed contract to fight Agjarko, and he was going to fight him in Ireland, in his hometown.
Wow. After
the Agjarko fight, Pete Dobson had another fight that most people don't even know about because I went back and I tried to Google it, and there's not a whole lot of information on this fight, but I covered it, so I know that it was a thing. Pete Dobson agreed to fight the Tanzanian fighter Hassan Mwakinyo for the WBC International title at 154, but then Hassan Mwakinyo wasn't cleared to fight, and that fight fell through no fault Pete's. And he was going to go to Tanzania to fight him, right? And then most recently, all right, October of 2023, he was supposed to fight British Olympian in fast-track welterweight contender Patrick McCormick. And as you guys can see on the screen, Patrick McCormick pulled out with an injury. So it's been a run of hard luck. And Eddie Hearn, you know, I feel like Pete's had to waste a lot of time in getting these fights and going about getting these fights. So look, just so you guys know, I'm not making this up. Look, this is an article from Kalmin Agjarko. He's sending a classy message to the fans after he was forced to withdraw from his upcoming bout due to injury. So it is what it is. These guys been pulling out. So with that being said, and with that being firmly established here on True School Sports, Eddie Hearn gave Pete Dobson this fight because Eddie Hearn's other fighters that he's had signed contracts to fight, which were going to be 10 rounders and whatnot, they pulled out. Right. So that's one side of the equation. The other side of the equation, along with Conor Benn not being able to currently box in the UK, is that they couldn't come to an agreement for the Eubank fight. Right. The big money making Eubank fight, which was scheduled to happen on this Saturday, February 3rd. They wanted that date. So Conor Benn wanted to stay active, and that's why we're here. That's exactly why we're here. So you got anything you want to add?
I just want to say that you can tell that Pete Dobson, like a lot of fighters in boxing, sometimes you just have a time of hard luck. No matter what they do, no matter how much they prepare, there's always somebody dropping out. Things have been unfortunate, even though they're training hard out. So as time went on, Pete Dobson has been frustrated. And, not to get that big chance, not to get this and that. So I do have to thank Eddie Hearn for that. But I think the nervousness from Pete Dobson can also mean that he can beat him. How many times you guys gone to take a test in school or going for a job and do something, that nervousness, or you're doing something?
Sometimes pressure McDonald's.
And it turns out to be better than what it really is. So people that don't know people from New York and people from where people who Pete is, they're gonna find out Saturday what he's all about. But and then we can switch it around to the other side. We got Ben, who also we interview here on the channel. He's got a great personality. He's done this. He's had his troubles.
He's improved a little bit.
But I think with all this going on, he's also been humbled and he's got an opportunity to come here and try to prove who he is. But the reality is, for me, I think that Pete, I think Pete will be it's going to be a better match against Ben. I think
that people think.
Yeah, the people think, and I think he's going to beat Ben. The reason I say that,
with the upset.
Yeah, I'm writing with.
We ain't even got that far yet.
Yeah,
you get a prediction out already.
All right,
so he going with the upset.
Yeah. So the reality is, I'll just leave it there until he continues on.
I guess.
But the reality is that Ben's has got a lot to prove in this fight, and all because of what he's done in the past and has cost him. So for him, it's just as much as there's a big chance for Pete to get the big name or get a name and a resume to establish himself in the weight class. You're going to have Ben that's trying to win back a lot of fans that he lost because of the stupidity of what he did.
Absolutely. And I guess his prediction is the perfect segue to I guess just breaking down both fighters and their styles, right? Because I've heard people say about Pete that he's really slow, and then I've heard people say that Conor Benn is this big knockout artist, right? That he's just like so much better than Pete, and Pete's trash, and then I've heard people say that Conor's not good and Pete, you know, I've heard both of them, right? And I don't agree with either, right? So as far as each fighter's style, let's start with Conor Benn, because I think people misconstrue what they're even looking at with Conor Benn. Number one, Conor Benn is a guy, and I think actually Pete, to a point, made a good point when he was talking about him, which is the fact that Conor Benn is a great athlete. He's a guy that wins fights. All these fights he's won, Vargas, Van Heerden, Granados, whatever fight you want to name, all these fights he's been winning have been mostly by and large part due to the fact that he's an elite athlete. The boxing skills have not caught up to the athleticism of Conor Benn. I don't care if you watch his fights with Cedric Pinoy early in his career when he got dropped and had to go life and death with them to give him a rematch. I don't care if you watch his recent fight against Rodolfo Orozco. I don't care if you watch the Algieri fight. Conor Benn is a gunslinger. He gets wild. Now, sometimes it's to his benefit. Sometimes it's to his detriment. But you know, he's a wild fighter, athletic, hard puncher, very explosive. But a guy, the style that beats the style like a Conor Benn is someone that's a counter puncher.
Right.
I think a guy that's a counter puncher, a guy that can hit him hard enough when he's punching in between the shots to get his respect and lower that punch output. That's the kind of fighter that I think beats a guy like Conor Benn. Now, on the other side, Pete Dobson, what kind of fighter is he? Because I've heard a lot of people say he's slow, and I've seen Pete spar countless rounds in the gym. He's not Jaron Ennis fast. Like, we're not going to say he's that level of speed, but I wouldn't call him a slow fighter. I think he's a guy that he takes his time. So sometimes a fight like that, when they take their time in the ring, it could be misconstrued as slow. But I wouldn't say he's slow. I've never really seen him as a guy that's slow. I think he's a guy that has solid speed. When he's at his best, I think Pete's a guy that can counterpunch. I think he's a guy that's, you know, you watch his fight. I think the best fight of his that he ever had in his career, and it's unfortunate because it was on the first pro box card ever, and we were actually there when he fought the Mexican Jose Miguel Borrego. Now, there's this one Pete Dobson highlight video that actually has highlights from that fight. That's probably the most accurate representation of the fighter Pete Dobson currently is. Okay. Because in that fight, I thought he counterpunched very well. He was in the pocket. All the things that you would need to do to beat a guy like Conor Benn, he did in that fight against a very tough Mexican fighter in Borrego. So at his best, I think Pete Dobson's a very intelligent counterpuncher that has the ability to go on the front foot. Where things could get a little bit dicey for him, is when Conor Benn, if they get into an exchange, because Conor Benn does have real punching power. Conor Benn being such an unorthodox fighter, he can throw punches from different types of angles, weird angles, from the ceiling, from the floor. And so, yes, Pete will have plenty of counterpunch opportunities, but he needs to make sure that he doesn't get hit by anything like this, because especially early in the fight, you know, Pete hasn't boxed. I think this is his first fight in about 2 years. So I think, you know, activity may play a role in this fight, which is why I think the odds have moved to plus 730. I think and last thing, Pops, we'll cut you off. Last thing on the Pete Dobson side of things, he better make sure he don't get hurt in this fight, because I feel like with the way the odds have moved, if he gets hurt in this fight, they may just you might see one of them premature stoppages. But go ahead.
I'm gonna say from Conor Benn's side, I think we know that Conor Benn has had the more experience as far as being in big fights, being in bigger crowds, and more point, it's the first time for Pete Dobson to actually have to, so to speak, be in the big dance. So we'll see what he's going to be all about. But for Conor Benn, what I feel the most important thing is he's been on steroid use for so long, and not to
you open up a can of worms.
Yeah, but not to make it as a big conversation.
We're not trying to condemn him.
No.
But it did happen in the legend system.
I like Ben. He speaks Spanish. I like both fights. Thing, but let me go back to Ben. Like I was saying, Ben has been using what they were used for the last couple of years, and he finally got caught. And you know, when you take any kind of enhancement, whatever it might be, you feel this power, and you feel you're unbeatable, and this and that. I think it's going to play a big part.
And he's not on it,
right? That he's not on it. A big part against Dobson, because what's going to happen is mentally and emotionally, he's going to think that, yeah, I still got that power. He say he made a mistake, whatever. He's going to think he can go ahead and hit that shot. I'm not saying he doesn't have the power. I'm just saying mentally, I think it's going to affect him in a way where he's going to think he has the power he used to have, and he's going to find out it's not the same thing.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Pete Dobson's weakness.
Yeah.
The kind of style that I think could beat a guy like Pete Dobson is someone that's an intelligent volume puncher. Because Pete Dobson, one of the only points that I've heard people that talk about this fight that don't know what they're talking about, that actually did know what they're talking about when it came to this, was the fact that Pete's not known as a guy who punches at a high volume. He's a smart fighter. He's a patient fighter. So he waits sometimes for you to make your mistake, and he flips it back on you. But a guy that's defensively responsible, who can up the punch I put on him, could maybe have the beating of a guy like Pete Dobson and take that O. Now, Conor Benn's defense ain't the best, but one thing we know about Conor Benn, he's gonna let that leather fly.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting style clash. And
I would say another thing that people don't realize is when you're the big underdog and nobody knows shit about you, they just assume that you're this trashy fighter because nobody knew their homework to find out. If you look closely at Pete Dobson's fights, he's a fighter that comes inside. He loves the inside game, and he'll bring it to you. And if you have to make the distance towards power punches, he will also do that. Do not sleep on him, even though we know Ben's the favorite.
My man Koki says, I spar with Pete in South Box Gym by Eric Kelly in the Bronx. Shout out to and salute to Eric Kelly in the Bronx. He's far from slow. People are sleeping on him, and I think they are. I really think they are. And then Hyro says, I don't like Conor Benn. I want Pete to win. Don't come after me saying I only pick fighters. That's because Hyro just hates Eddie Hearn. But
does he?
We get it, Hyro. We get it.
Thank you, Hyro.
Thank you, Hyro. We appreciate you. Next Gen Combat Sports TV. Shout out to me. He says Conor Benn has been hot. Chris Algieri with that. He hit Chris Algieri with that Cobra, made him slumped over, and that rhymed. But yeah, no, I was watching that fight today, and last thing on Conor Benn. And in fact, that'll segue into the next point of the live, which is, like Conor Benn, like I give him respect. I think he's shown some growth and has improved and has been working hard to improve. But let's not get it twisted. Like y'all are acting like Pete Dobson has to go in there and beat Terrence Crawford. He got to go in there and beat Manny Pacquiao in his prime. He got to go in there and beat Floyd. I'm not trying to put Conor Benn down, but let's just be real. Conor Benn ain't no damn world beater. Like the mistakes are there. And I think people need to stop being so quick to believe the matchroom propaganda, because they're doing a great job of selling you guys that Conor Benn is this killer. And I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, because he is a good fighter. But I mean, I was watching him fight. I mean, I went back. I watched like 3 of his fights before this live. I went back and I watched the first fight with Cedric Pinoy where he got dropped in the first round. I watched the Chris Algieri fight, and I watched the most recent fight against Rodolfo Orozco. And the common theme that I saw in all those fights, whether it be early in his career, the middle of his career, or just his last fight, was a punch that Conor Benn can't seem to defend that well, that he gets hit with a little bit too much.
Right.
Is the straight right hand. And I'm not just talking about the straight right hand like counter, but even the straight right hand lead. Because in those fights, those are punches that were landed. Now, obviously, he knocked Algieri out. He beat Orozco, so he did what he needed to do. But I think Pete Dobson is bringing a higher IQ to the ring and a little bit more dimensions than them kind of guys. Like, for example, I'll give you guys an example. When he fought Orozco, Orozco's a tall, lanky, high guard Mexican fighter. So, especially in the first 3 rounds when Conor was trying to gauge that range on Orozco, a lot of times I watched Conor shoot that jab, and he overshoot the jab, and he missed Orozco. But the thing is, once he threw the straight right hand off the jab, Orozco's head didn't go nowhere. So it was right there to be hit all the time. That's not going to be the case with Pete Dobson, right? So I think he's had to work a lot harder. I think one thing he does have going for him, like I said, the inactivity of Pete, not with these fights falling out and him not being able to get these fights, that's going to bode well for him. I believe, let me see, Pete started camp when? Because I was there for his first sparring session. I forgot how long ago it was, but he got, I think he got about 5 weeks or so, maybe 6. I could be wrong, give or take. So I feel like he got enough time to prepare, but we'll all see come fight night.
The bottom line is, on Pete's side of things, you only get opportunity to go to the big dance so many times. You're either gonna go in there and be part of the show, and you're part of the show and show you out and win the big dance, or you could just possibly get exposed by a Ben. Ben, to me, the name alone says a lot. That's what really, in my opinion, that's got him where he's at. But because of the popularity of his name, you tend to forget that he's not as good as his dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his genes, but he's not as good as his dad.
He's still in development too.
Yeah, and I respect Ben. I like Ben also. So shout out to UK fans. I'm just calling it the way I see it. Where I think Ben's making a mistake in all the media, and I'm gonna say it again, is because you don't do your homework on who actually Pete Dobson is, unless you're from New York and you really know, or like you actually seen him in the ground in practice, you're gonna go ahead and just put the fire on him and put extinguisher and put him out. But don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. This guy is tough. He comes from New York, and I'm not saying that should be anything to do with it, but he's not going to take shit from nobody. And Ben can say whatever you want, but I will also say one thing. When they were doing that interview, Pete had him. I think he had, in a way, had Ben radical. He's used to having a person like a New Yorker get in there and talk the way he was talking to him, move around like he didn't like that movement, and kind of made a little tense, a little nervous. Doesn't like that.
Another thing too, and I gotta highlight this because it's just the truth. Every time, I mean, whenever a British fighter comes to America for the first time, like Las Vegas particularly, that's always like a big moment in their career. Las Vegas, the first Las Vegas to New York fight. Mm-hmm. That's what this is for Conor Benn. So we know that generally speaking, doesn't normally go well for the Brits. We'll see how he handles the lights in fighting in America and not having the whole crowd on his side. But look, Pops, I want to get to Conor Benn. I kind of wanted to, just dissect the resume a little bit because I was listening to people say like, oh, Conor Benn fought this high level. Now, look, I'm not trying to bring it up, but it's just the reality. He had something in the system that wasn't supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. And that's why he's in America fighting Pete Dobson. Mm-hmm. So I don't really think I can take the fight with Ben Heerden or even like Algieri or Vargas where he was having these sensational knockouts because I remember, Pops.
Right.
I remember clearly. I went live for this fight. I went live when he fought UC Cavola in 2019. I was following him even back then.
Right.
And I just noticed from that fight to when he started stepping up to like the Vargas level and things like he was getting these knockouts a little too easily, right? Mm-hmm. So as far as his resume is concerned, let's go through it. And I'm gonna go through Pete's as well. So don't worry about that. Mm-hmm. I'll start right here because we watched this fight earlier. He fought Cedric Pinoy, who I've actually talked to Conor Benn about. When I interviewed him in 2021 at City, when I interviewed Conor Benn at City Athletic Boxing Gym in 2021, I brought this fight up to him because this is one of the first times I had heard or seen Conor Benn.
Right.
Back in 2017 when he fought the French journeyman 5-4-3, a guy that took him to some deep dark places.
Yeah.
Dropped him with a straight right hand, 1-2 down the middle.
Boom.
In fact, I'm gonna play the clip for you guys. I got clips. I got the receipts. I got the receipts for you guys. All right. When I talked to Conor Benn about the Cedric Pinoy fight, he admitted himself that when he was a prospect, he was rubbish. Look, this is Conor Benn talking about himself, that he was rubbish back then when he was fighting the guys like Cedric Pinoy. Look,
and people who live in that world of I was rubbish at first, wasn't I? I was terrible. Very. So imagine then if I, very exactly. Imagine if I'd listened to everyone who said I wasn't going to make it.
Oh, you would have hung it up and started working at Tesco's.
I did think about it. Maybe not Tesco's.
Not Tesco's, but something else.
Something similar. Yeah. But imagine if I listened to them. And I was bad at first. There was no hope for me. Come on, be real. You thought,
I was like, this guy's a hype job. British hype job.
Hype job. The hype train.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm like, when I watched the first Pinoy fight, I'm like, it ain't gonna last too long for Conor.
No.
So there you have it. Even by his own admission, that ain't my words. Those are his words. He said himself that at that time when he fought Cedric Pinoy, he was rubbish. And you know what? That's why he's improved. He's being honest with himself. Then he's went on to fight the guys like UC Cavola, who he knocked out in 2 rounds. He went on to fight. Hold on, let me go back to Conor Benn. He went on to fight like UC Cavola, the little Finnish fighter. He knocked out in 2 rounds. He fought who else? He fought Sebastian Formella, who was like the first kind of name that he fought because Formella had a little name from when he fought Sean Porter here in the States. And then he won that crazy run of form where he was knocking everybody out. Now, the fight I want to point out to you guys is the Adrian Granados fight because you guys know Adrian Granados is a friend of the program. I've known Adrian Granados for years. I love Adrian Granados, but I'll tell the truth about Adrian Granados. Adrian Granados is not a defensively responsible fighter. He's never had the reputation for being a guy that's a back foot boxer, right? Now, credit to Conor Benn. It wasn't a controversial fight. I thought, Conor Benn won the fight fair and square. But Adrian Granados, towards the latter stages of that fight, he in the middle of latter stages of that fight, he was on his back foot boxing Conor Benn. And yeah, he was getting hit, but Adrian Granados was frustrating Conor Benn and making a miss. And, he didn't really have anything to make him pay with, but he was making a miss. And so my thing is, if a guy like Adrian Granados, who's not a back foot fighter, can circle the ring like that on a guy like Conor Benn, frustrate him, he even won a couple rounds down the stretch. I just think a guy like Pete Dobson, should he decide to box, is going to have a big chance to beat him, just because Pete Dobson, in terms of technical boxing off the back foot, punching in between the shots, he is at a higher level than Adrian Granados at 147.
Right.
Now, Adrian Granados 140, back in the day, bit of a different story, but the 147 Granados that Ben fought, he had seen better days, and it was what it was there. Now, look, guys, I want to point something out to you, because I'm giving y'all a large picture, because I had to hear everybody talk about this fight, and they didn't really know about Conor Benn's history, like the guys he fought, how he looked in them fights, and they didn't know anything about Pete either, right? So one thing about it is this quote right here. This is a direct quote from Florian Marcoux, and I thought it was interesting because he said, I quote, and this was an article in 2021. He said, I quote, "Conor has a glass chin. Since Cedric Paynoid, they have not chosen anyone who can actually hit, who can punch."
Oh, wow.
Right? So then I think that's a statement that deserves to actually be, let's check that out. Is there any truth to what Florian Marcoux said? Has Matchroom Boxing, the fine folks there, have they only been matching up with pillow-fisted fighters since Paynoid, right? Let's be objective here, because it's in black and white. You don't got to go by. It's not feelings based. It's just black and white paper. Now, look, his last fight against Paynoid was 2018. Okay, since the Paynoid fight, he's fought guys like UC Kabola, and then some pretty nondescript guys. The guys that we do know on his resume, like Sebastian Formella, not a big puncher. Samuel Vargas, not a big puncher. Adrian Granados, not a big puncher.
Right.
Chris Algieri, definitely not a big puncher. Chris Van Heerden, not a big puncher. So, I think it's fair to say, it's my opinion, Pete Dobson ain't no like Deontay Wilder, but he's definitely, since the Cedric Paynoid fight, I would all say he's the hardest puncher Conor Benn has fought. Because look, and we're gonna check under the hood of Pete Dobson, because we should be fair. This is a guy in Pete Dobson who's fought as high as he's fought in between welterweight, 154. He has now one thing that might also work against Pete is he hasn't made the official welterweight limit since 2019 again, when he fought Emmanuel Medina. Now, funny enough, the last time he made the welterweight limit, and hold on, let me go to Pete Dobson, right? Because let me see, I got the points here. Hold on. By the way, shout out to everyone here. Make sure you guys smash that like button. We here, I know nobody's really they on this fight. I like this fight. I'll be there. I can't wait for this fight. As far as Pete Dobson, I feel like he had the style to beat Conor Benn. But look, when he fought, the last time he fought at the welterweight limit, he fought this guy right here, Emmanuel Medina. Now, Emmanuel Medina isn't a big name anymore. He kind of faded into obscurity. But I remember at that time, you guys could even go YouTube his name up. He was a prospect that was getting a little buzz in boxing. He was someone that was undefeated. He was from the West Coast. Yeah. They brought Pete Dobson for that fight as the B-side. And on top of that, the reason nobody knows about it is because it wasn't on the prelims. Yeah. It wasn't on the televised portion. It was just not televised at all. Yeah. And he beat the shit out of Emmanuel Medina and knocked him out in the 5th round. Now, since that fight, he's had managerial problems, guys pulling out on him. Typical boxing stuff, right? Typical boxing stuff. But I just think that that fight, and then Jose Miguel Borrego, which I think of the fights I've watched of his since I've been following him like really close, the Borrego fight is the best fight of his career, performance of his career. Borrego was a tough Mexican. He had been in camp with Earl Spence. He was a guy that Pro Box maybe thought could do something to Pete. Right. That didn't happen. So one thing I can't say about Pete's resume when I look at it, just forget the names for a second. I'm talking about performance wise. The closer he's fought the 147, the better he's performed, because these fights here against Carlos Winston Velasquez and Wilfredo Beleves, Andres Vieira, he was getting knocked out in some of these fights, but there was a certain level of sharpness that wasn't in them fights. Right. The level of sharpness that he executed at his best was when he was fighting either at or close to the welterweight limit.
Right.
So that's what I can say. Then as far as the names, right? Because people have a lot to say about the names. I'm gonna give you guys the real Pete Dobson resume breakdown because a lot of people don't know their boxing. That's the truth. Okay, so the first notable fight in Pete Dobson's career was June of 2017, and this fight was on NBC Sports Network. So it was like one of those not the main NBC, but or CBS. But it was like the secondary channel that you get on the premium part of your cable package. You know, if you have like all the channels, you get that channel. So he fought, I forgot who was throwing the card, but he fought a fighter named Jeremy J. Flash Nichols. And I know who Jeremy J. Flash Nichols is because when I was in Vegas in 2017, I seen him spar Caleb Plant.
Right.
Southpaw, athletic. That was actually a fight that at that time was looked at to be an even fight. Pete wound up winning a majority decision, outboxed him. Show good boxing skills, and that was probably the first regional title he won in his career. Right now, I mentioned Emmanuel Medina again. That was on the Manny Pacquiao Keith Thurman undercard, untelevised portion. He was brought in on the B side. It was a short notice fight. Not beat the brakes off Medina. We ain't seen or heard from Emmanuel Medina since the damn fight.
Damn.
And then and then look, this part of his career. So he didn't box for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. He comes to South Florida. He gets to Coach Jeff. These fights, like the ones in Weston, like the Wilfredo Belevis fight, Carlos Winston Velasquez, Pete was fat.
Yeah.
Pete was fat. Pete wasn't even in shape. Pete was trying to get down in weight. And the crazy thing is, these are some of the only fights where there's footage of him. So the footage that people are seeing of Pete are when Pete was fat, when Pete wasn't even like
top of the top.
At his best.
Right.
And then it's annoying because then the fight he did perform well against Borrego, that there's only that one little, it's in that one little highlight video. So as far as Pete, I feel like, the resume is there to be judged and feel free to judge it. But a lot of you guys just don't even know the whole story about the damn resume. Mm-hmm. And then as far as Pete, the fighter, right, just some more interesting facts out there for you guys. He's sparred a lot of top fighters, like a lot of guys who I feel have some similar attributes to Conor Benn. Like, for example, Conor Benn is a fast twitch, explosive, speedy guy.
Right.
That's what he is. Okay. But you think he's faster twitch and more explosive than Jerron Ennis? Because Pete sparred him. Yeah. Is he faster twitch and more explosive than Adrian Broner in his prime? I don't think he ain't sparred nobody like him. Is he a more explosive guy or a more devastating fighter than Terrence Crawford? Because Pete sparred him. Wow. So yeah, maybe Pete hasn't had those fights until now against the names where you can put him on that world-class level. But his gym experience is top-notch. And he's been boxing since he was 16. So 17 years boxing experience. He sparred guys like Ennis, sparred guys like Crawford, sparred guys like Broner. Wow. Been in camp with them. And you could ask, I asked Boots on this channel about Pete. Boots thinks Pete's a good fighter. Boots knows who Pete is. Yeah. So there's that. And then the last little tidbit about Pete before I get to the comments. Last little tidbit, because most people may not know this. And the fact that nobody said this in any of these videos I heard, it lets me know they didn't do their damn homework. Because look, y'all got internet access like I got internet access.
That's right.
So I want to highlight this right here. And this is the last thing I'm going to highlight because I actually think this will actually play a role in the fight. So this is from an article on Boxing Insider Back that was written back in 2019 by my main man, and he now works for Fight Hype, Hans Demestor. Shout out to Hans. He's been doing great work as a journalist for years. But he said, and I quote, "I used to play basketball a lot. I played AAU ball for the New York Gauchos before boxing was really my first love." End quote. So that right there, playing AAU basketball, that tells you that Pete Dobson is very athletic. Yeah. Which means that I think he has athleticism to offset maybe some of what Conor Benn brings to the ring. Right. And just so you guys know, because I know this, the New York Gauchos are the the most famous AAU basketball team in New York. They've had NBA players like Stephon Marbury, Mark Jackson, Rod Strickland, and my favorite NBA player of all time, Kemba Walker, play for them. So you don't get on the damn New York Gauchos if you're not good. And you're not good at that level of basketball if you don't got some sort of elite athletic ability. So I only bring that up to say that Pete's athletic too. You guys keep saying Conor Benn is athletic. Pete's athletic too. So,
Yeah, I just think a lot of people don't really know much about Pete. So they're going to say the little they know of him. So, of course, they're going to put the fire on anything he tries to do does good. Mm-hmm. But we're going to find out this weekend what Dobson's all about, what he represents. At the same time, we're going to see I'm going to say the coming of Ben as a new person, a humble person to come in here and see what he can show. And the best part about it, he's fought in the U.S. before, but he's coming back to try to win back a lot of fans that he's lost. So he's going to come here to try to make a big impression to the UK fans, to let them know I made a mistake, I'm doing this. But at the same token, the guy that people just want to put the lights out without turning the switch on is Pete Dobson. Y'all better watch out.
So as far as predictions go, like I'm gonna actually say my prediction for when I get to Vegas. I'll give you guys prediction when I get to Vegas.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is this: I think the two most likely outcomes for this fight are either gonna be
UD,
a Conor Benn stoppage, or a Pete Dobson UD. Now, could Pete stop Conor Benn? Yeah, it's possible. I think Conor Benn's very hittable. I could see Pete Dobson hurting him in the fight. But I question, and this is just me being objective, I question Pete Dobson being like will he have enough gas down the stretch to like fully go for the stoppage on Conor Benn? He may look good for a couple rounds, but stamina is gonna be an issue. So I feel like there's gonna be a point in the fight where Pete manages his stamina, and if he feels like he has enough rounds banked already, he's gonna try to outbox him. Now, from the Conor Benn side of things, I feel like there's a chance that Pete Dobson may exchange with him, just get caught. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I just think when you look at the fighters Conor Benn fought at the time he fought them, the Algieri, good fighter, past his best days. He was on the way out. Granados been through. We know what he's been through. We documented that here on this channel. We know what he's been through, right? And that's not to put Ben down. It's just the reality of the guy he was fighting. Pete Dobson, one of his best, his two best attributes are subtle things in boxing. Well, one of them is a subtle thing in boxing. He has a good understanding of distance, which I think is one of Conor Benn's weaknesses. Because a lot of times, if you really sit there and you watch his fights, he overshoots that jab a lot, right? I think he knows his punching range very well. His other thing he's really good at is he's a really good counter puncher. Yeah. So those are going to be things that I feel if Pete uses to his advantage are going to give him a good chance to win. But to me, it's a great fight. I think if I was being objective here, I would say it's a 56, like out of 100%. If I had a favor, like give you like a guy's a percentage. Yeah, it'd be 56% in Conor Benn's favor just because of the activity, the youth, the fact that he's the A-side fighter. He's got those factors on his side. He's also very explosive. He can punch. Those things are why I'm making him the favorite. Pete has the experience. He has the counter punching. He has the gym experience as well. That's why I'm saying it's 44%. He's the underdog. He is the underdog. I can't sit here just because I like him and I'm cool with him. Yeah. I can't sit here and be like, oh, Pete's the favorite. He's not the favorite. Vegas has him as a plus 730. But I do see several paths to victory for him, and I think people writing him off is a very foolish thing. And look, he thinks you guys writing him off is a very foolish thing because this is what Pete Dobson had to say about Conor Benn when I interviewed him.
Conor Benn, I know you want to say too much, but as far as like him as a fighter, watching him, like what are your thoughts on Conor Benn?
I feel like Conor Benn is green. That's what I say. He's green, but I feel like he has a hunger to prove himself. He got a chip on his shoulder. His father being a world champion, so he puts that work in. But I feel like my level, I'm on a whole nother level. I'm one of the best fighters in the world, and I feel like I don't want to say too much, but
I got you.
He's green. He's a tough guy. He got determination. He's a hard worker, but no matter how hard you work, he can't beat me because I'm on another level. Like he could work. He could have 4 days, still can't fuck with me. Feel me?
I feel you. Okay.
There you go. He said it. He said it out of his own mouth. He could have 4 days and still can't fuck with me. Now, shout out to my man Bobby. He says 90 straight nights alive. Listen, it's the new sensation that's sweeping the nation. 90 days of boxing here on True School Sports.
Being professional.
Bobby knows we're being professional here.
Yeah. Thank you,
but
Bobby.
a lot of you guys are bringing up an interesting point, and I wanted to touch on this because you guys are saying, Hyro said, don't forget Pete Dobson is going to be shot because he's been in Team Combat League, and you guys are bringing up that Pete Dobson's Team Combat League record is trash because it's not good. He had a bunch of losses. You know what? Let me be fair here. We won't be biased because you guys are going to say, we're not talking about his record in Team Combat League. I didn't know you guys. What's funny is Team Combat League's been around for like over a year. I've done a bunch of lives since Team Combat League's been in existence. I've never heard you guys ever mention. Nobody's ever mentioned in a live Team Combat League. So just point that out. But look, we'll look at it because it's there to be judged, right? He had a horrible record. I know he had a horrible record. It was bad. He was 3-7. Okay. He was 3-7 in Team Combat League, which means that he lost. If there to be judged, he was trash in Team Combat League. But Team Combat League is 1-round fights. it's 1-round fights. So if you're not somebody that's like a Mexican pressure fighter or some sort of knockout artist,
You're not gonna win.
you're not gonna be that, or some sort of slick defensive fighter like Michael Hunter is. You're not gonna be like no good fighter in Team Combat League. So I think that's that's a bit deceiving. I don't think that's fair to judge him off of that, because if you've ever watched his fights, and they're on YouTube to watch, if you've ever watched Pete Dobson's fight, he's a guy that likes to take his time.
Right.
And fighters that like to take the time don't succeed in Team Combat League.
Right.
It's just how it goes.
Right. Just the way it is.
So yeah, he was 3-7. Just out of curiosity, who the hell did he lose to in Team Combat? Who did he beat and who did he lose to? So he beat this Russian dude, and then he beat Ben Whitaker, okay, and then he lost to Keandre Leatherwood and Quincy Williams, and yeah, he looked okay. K Champ, yeah, he lost to some guys. But I'll tell you this though, all these guys that he lost to, I guarantee you, because I know Casey Dixon. Casey Dixon is Nigel Lopez's brother, the K Champ, the one that threw it. I guarantee you, in a real 6, 8, 10-round fight, Pete Dobson is leathering all of them. They all getting packed up. Mm-hmm. Casey Dixon got very leaky defense, so I haven't even watched that fight, and in my head I can already see how it went. Right. He coming in the high guard, he just throwing whatever. Pete's probably just picking the shots and trying to counter punch, and that shit don't work in Team Combat League. So that's like when they say that's like when Zhao Shiming, the old Chinese fighter. In fact, since I brought him up, Zhao Shiming, the old Chinese fighter, he beat all these dudes in the amateurs, won all these gold medals. But what did he do in the pros? What did good old Zhao Shiming do in the pros? Since we want to talk about amateurs, because basically Team Combat League is semi-professional amateur boxing, let's bring up Zhao Shiming. He won 2 gold medals. Bob Arum was gonna go ahead and bet the house on this dude. You probably never heard of Zhao Shiming, have you? Right? No. Let's look at Zhao Shiming. Look at all the guys he beat to win his gold medals. Look, he beat Rasheem Warren multiple times. He was a great amateur. Rasheem. He beat Randy Bartholomew's brother, Jan Bartholomew, who was a good amateur. He beat, who else did he beat? He beat Carl Frampton as an amateur. Wow. He beat Juan Carlos Payano as an amateur. Holy crap. He beat, who else did he beat? What other names do we got here? Patty Barnes. Mm-hmm. Nordine Ubali, who wanted to become champion. Beat him as an amateur. Wow. Beat one of the Cubans here in South Florida. I think Luis Yanez. I think he's from South Florida. Beat Ubali again. All right. So my thing is, I'm only using Zhao as a point. He beat Amnat Ruorong. Right. He beat a lot of guys who wanted to have names and accomplish some real nice things in the pros. That was Zhao Shiming. So my thing is, it didn't matter, because when he got to the pros, all that amateur shit didn't work. And so Pete Dobson didn't do well in Team Combat League. We know that. He was trash. Right. 3-7. But he's not a Team Combat League fighter. Team Combat League is for 2 or 3 types of fighters. It's for either A, fighters who can't get fights that need to make some money, which Pete Dobson falls under that description. Dude's pulling out. He didn't make some money. You got to, at the end of the day, you got family and bills. Life goes on with or without boxing, right? Or it's made for fighters that just really on some bullshit that don't want to take no fights, like Michael Hunter. So, that's just how it goes. That's how it goes. But nonetheless, look, I say all that to say it's a good fight. Conor Benn, shout out to him. I respect him. Shout out to Pete Dobson. Yeah, I respect him. And that's what it is. So, anything you want to chime in on?
No, I think overall it's going to be a good fight. Like I said, there's 2 fighters coming back. One's trying to make a big name, fighting a guy with a real big name in boxing, and he's trying to let people know who he is. He's coming to the big dance. And then you got another one trying to redeem himself. So good luck to both of them. And I wish them both the best.
My man, POTX TV says he was fighting at 164 in Team Combat League. Yeah, and that's another good point. He was, because I remember when I watched it. I didn't look at the weight when I was checking it, but he said fool. He said fool. When I watched it, I looked at it and I said, Pete looks fat. Yeah. So I wouldn't go through I wouldn't put too much stock into it. Big Supreme says you got Conor Benn in rounds 5 through 8. And then he says, I don't think it's going to last, bro. Conor is just the fresher fighter. Conor might turn his TV off, though. We'll see. If they exchange, we'll have a chance to, but I could see it being a long night for him. He says timing and beat speed is an interesting matchup, and I think Pete's he's got better timing. He's got better timing.
That's true.
Lance Meyer says BT and Pop's the best boxing duo on the internet.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
My man Sonny says Pete Dobson is going down. And Raw Dog says I never heard of Dobson. A lot of people haven't heard of him because he has been promoted like that. Yeah. But I know who he is.
But people that inside of boxing that really know him, they'll tell you like, don't sleep on this guy. This guy's very underrated, but he's better than what people think.
And BT, he wants to know, do I have an official pick? I'm not giving you my pick till I get to Vegas. When I get to Vegas, I'll give you my pick. when I get to Vegas on Friday, I got a special presentation for you guys. I'll give you a pick.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave it at that. But
yeah,
anyone can win the fight. You know, Conor Benn, obviously, he's the favorite. Pete Dobson's a heavy underdog, but he's very talented as well. So we'll see how it goes. He said his pick. He going with the upset.
Yeah.
I'm not saying mine until I get to Vegas.
And most of you guys already know. If you hear Pop's pick, you better go the other way. Like one of the subscribers, so I laugh at that the whole time. Like, don't listen to Pop. Pop's crazy. But yeah, it's really what 60-40, 50-50 fight. I don't know what you really want to call it. I would just say like we know that Ben's got the more experience in the big lights and being around the crowds and all this. But I'm just saying, don't give this guy. Don't sleep on Dobson. He's got the opportunity to show people why he's as worthy as he is to be there.
My man Miguel says Pete is hungry and focused. I'm betting on Dobson, stopping Conor Benn because he ain't no leaving it. Yeah, I'll tell you this. It'd be hard for me to see. I don't know.
You can't leave it on the judges.
Yeah, because
the
money's behind Conor Benn. You know,
Blackstone and Conor Benn, and you know what? Eddie turns everything from whatever it is to gold.
Henry Vault says, so you're betting on the fight. Just stay tuned for Friday. That's all I can say. Just stay tuned. You know, Victor says, choose Pop. Please pick Inoue so he can lose to Luis Neri.
Oh shit! Go ahead, Victor. Talk yourself. Talk your stuff, Victor. It's all
tell
good.
him how you really feel, Victor.
Yeah, tell him, Victor. It's all good.
We appreciate everyone.
Yeah.
But look, I said what I needed to say about Pete Dobson and Conor Benn. I'll give you my prediction on Friday when I get to Vegas. But there are other things going on in boxing that I wanted to discuss with you guys. So make sure you guys smash that like button. We're like an hour in.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys definitely subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, man, a lot of things going on in boxing, and with all the hype and the hoopla yesterday of Shakur Stevenson and his retirement and these things, lost in the shuffle of that. And I think this was today. It's earlier today, actually. It's from this morning. This is what Keyshawn Davis had to say about fighting Emmanuel Vaquero Navarrete. He said, and I quote, "After I make my statement February 8th, I'll be honored to fight him for the WBO title after. Let's do it for the fans. They'll love the fight as well. Super motivated for next week. I gotta get the job done first." So we know that Keyshawn's got to fight Jose Pedraza. Jose Pedraza's been on a bad run of form recently, but he's still Jose Pedraza. He's still a good fighter. One of the better Puerto Rican fighters of his era, and someone that you cannot sleep on because he's a crafty, wily veteran. So Keyshawn got to focus on the task at hand. But we know Vaquero, he's moving up to 135. Shakur Stevenson don't like the fact that he's just getting a title shot because Shakur. The reason why Shakur is so pissed off is because he wanted Vaquero to just fight him straight up right away, and Vaquero's not doing that. Vaquero is going for the big WBO belt. He's fighting a guy he's favored to beat, Dennis Baranchyk. He beats Dennis Baranchyk. Now he's a champion, and then now a Shakur Stevenson Navarrete fight could be unification. But as far as this matchup, Pops, when I say Navarrete versus Keyshawn Davis, like what are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts on it? I'm just saying with Johnson.
Davis, not Johnson. Johnson was the receiver.
Yeah, Davis. Yeah, Davis, Olympian. Give respect to him. I think his time should be coming. Should have been already here, in my opinion, because I really wait on the Olympics high, so I expect to come here. But him fighting Navarrete, he won't beat Navarrete.
Why do you feel he won't beat him?
I just think the way Navarrete
volume is the volume
punching, the way his style is. He just won't beat him. To me, Keyshawn is a talented fighter, but he hasn't shown me that
he hasn't developed yet.
Yeah, to that point where he can take over a fight and dominate fighters like he should as an Olympian.
Let me say this: if he go on there and he dominate Jose Pedraza, would that give you a little bit more confidence going into that kind of fight?
Who's this?
Keyshawn Davis dominates Jose Pedraza.
Look, every fight, not every fight, because I know he dominates some opponents, to be fair, to Keyshawn Davis, but I got to see him do it. Every time he comes on, I'm going to put a great show, The one fight I went for the last one before I'm gonna knock this guy
It was
out.
Nahir Albright.
Yeah,
Nahir Albright.
yeah,
And he actually got clipped that fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna do all this and I'm gonna do that. Stop you talking on social media. Stop you talking about what you're gonna do and go fucking do it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I like Keyshawn. I think Keyshawn has a better personality than a lot of these guys at 35, like Devin. He's like more. There's a certain likability to Keyshawn, and so I really do wish nothing but great things for the young man. What I can say about Keyshawn that I like is I feel like he's got the boxing skills to outbox a lot of pressure fighters, and he's also a very good slugger. He's a very well-rounded fighter, but I just think that he may need a little bit more development. I still think he's maybe like 2-3 fights away from a guy like Navarrete. And the other side of the equation of this, guys, is yes, Keyshawn can want the fight. And listen, dogs bark, cats meow. In basketball, they say shooters shoot. So of course he's gonna want the fight, but he don't make that decision. You know, the 5 folks at the top rank, you know, Brad Goodman, Carl Moretti, you know, Bob Arum, Bruce Trampler, they make the ultimate final executive decision. So you think, Chat and Pops, do you think Top Rank is gonna allow one of the blue chip prospects in with a guy like Navarrete?
I think a lot of it's all
even if he is the bigger man in the weight class.
He's an investment, and he's gradually progressing to be what the fighters want. But come on, man. You got to show me more than what you can show me. I'm going to go back to this, and you might think it's a little bit premature, but I'm just going to say it the way I see it. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say about the Cuban fighter that just came out of Cuba down in Philly.
Andy Cruz.
Right. He's out there in Philly training, and maybe the point was that big. But one thing that Cruz showed me after he came back from learning that Philly smoke, he went in there. He did what he's supposed to do. I like that. I'm not saying that's dwindle the fact that. That Keyshawn Davis is a special fighter. He's an Olympian, but come on, man. This level 2, you got
he ain't there yet.
Yeah, and Andy doesn't talk that shit. But guess what? Andy went in there the last fight and he pieced that guy out like there was no tomorrow because he got it in him. Keyshawn, I respect you. Shout out to Virginia, but I want to see you do better.
Gotta show him more. Okay. Shout out to Jairo. Jairo says Navarrete is the Mexican Kosai Tanaka. Before I read that comment, Jairo, no, he's not. He ain't. Stop. Shout out to Kosai Tanaka.
Yeah.
He said he never fights the number 1 or number 2 in his division.
But I'm not gonna say it's him. I'm gonna.
And on top of that, just to further drive home that analogy, Navarrete, all the titles he always wins is WBO. Kosai Tanaka, all the titles he's ever won is WBO. And then this fight that Kosai Tanaka is going to have, he's gonna be a 4-time 4-division WBO champion. That's his point.
Yeah, and like you say, well, we say that he the Mexican Tanaka, he never fights number 1, number 2, but that's not their really. It's not their call. The boxers get a choice, but a lot of it's like Brother says with Top Rank, they want they're the smartest team in how to pick the opponents for their fighters.
Facts. And a man right here wants to know: is there any news about Filip Hrgović? So far, no news. The last news I can tell you is about a week ago. I hit him up for an interview, and he kind of gave me like a little frustrated response. He said, "What the hell am I going to tell you?" Pretty much type thing. So there's no news. It just sounds like he's frustrated by a lot of things going on. But listen, you guys know when there is some news, when there's something to report on with Filip Hrgović, you know I'll be the first, maybe the only to report on it. So yeah.
Stay tuned.
Next Gen says that he feels Keyshawn don't got enough pop for him at the moment. So
yeah, good point.
And you know, Jairo, he said PBC is back. The return of PBC, BT.
I'm gonna buy you a shirt. I'm gonna get Al Haymon a picture on the shirt. Make sure I give it to Jairo.
And Miguel makes the point about Pete Dobson and Conor Benn. He says that Eddie Hearn lost a lot of money with Conor Benn, so don't forget that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because you got to remember. Well, you got to remember when that contract was signed up by Chris Eubank. Yeah. I mean, man, it was one of the most well promoted events they ever made. And so that all cost money. And that was tickets were sold, had to be refunded. You know.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Eddie Hearn's was banking on, making that big 2-name fight between both these fighters, and it actually didn't materialize. So and not just Eddie Hearn's, there's a lot of promoters that invest a lot of money on their fighter investment, and they never get the return the way they should. So I mean, it's a risk, it's a gamble, it's a risk on the fighters you put out there that you think are going to win for you, and they come out and they don't do that, and you just lose. It's a risk. It's a no win and win. It's out. You got to gamble. That's all. You're going to find out how the guy is.
Shout out to Hand Street Voice says, BT, in your opinion, who does the boxing industry want to win? Conor Benn or Pete Dobson? Can you discuss this in the perspective of promoters? Of course. That's what we do here. We give y'all a large picture. We talk about it from the fighter's perspective, the X's and O's, the style. We give y'all the whole fight game. So let's talk about it. So Eddie Hearn can't take Conor Benn back to the UK because he has not been cleared by the British Boxing Board of Control. He's not been reinstated yet. So we know that his base, the place where Conor Benn can make the most money, is the UK. So his value from a promoter standpoint isn't as high if he's just boxing in America. I mean, I was telling Pops and I told Tom Harrow this the night when I was talking to him is the fact that Conor Benn, this whole card is basically a Your Call show, but in America, because the fight. Shit, yeah. No, I'm not being disrespectful. It's like a matchroom card at Your Call, where like you got Johnny the Romford Bull on this card making his American debut. You had Connor Coyle, who was fighting Emma Williams. Who else on this card? You got a bunch of British prospects on this card. And Conor Benn's headline. It's very much like a Your Call card. So I know for a fact, and I've seen the ticket prices. The ticket price ain't too expensive. Yeah. So I know for a fact, and they're fighting in one of the smallest venues in Las Vegas. Okay. So I know that they're not gonna generate like tons of money from this fight. Right. That's just the truth. So I don't know like I know Eddie will talk for the cameras and say a certain thing like, oh yeah, Conor Benn versus Eubank. I don't know what Eddie really feels about Conor Benn. Exactly. He may just be like, look, to hell with him. Who knows? Maybe low key might want Pete to win because Pete Dobson, not in my interview, but on the Boxing Voice interview, he had said in the interview that pretty much that if he wins this fight, there's more fights on the deal, that there will be options in his contract. For those of you guys that don't know what options are, let me give you guys a legal verbiage in boxing. Options are a clause that promoters put in a B-side fighter's contract when they're in a fight against their A-side fighter that stipulates that should they win, the promoter has first promotional and contractual rights to that fighter. Meaning that if Pete Dobson wins the fight, he is automatically a matchroom fighter. Right. So, there's that. Yeah. Also, little caveat here. I know that, and this is just maybe thinking a little bit outside the box, right? Now, I don't know if Eddie Hearn is going to sign Jaron Ennis. I don't know about that. There were rumors out there floating around that Jaron Ennis is going to sign with Eddie Hearn, and quiet as kept. I heard through the grapevine that they may have had a meeting. Right. They actually had a meeting. Okay. If there is any truth to that, and let's say if Boots does sign the dotted line with Eddie Hearn, which I still have a hard time believing he's going to. Yeah. But there was some sort of meeting supposedly. Okay. He beats Conor Benn. All of a sudden, you got an American, right? And I'll tell you this too: if Pete beats Conor Benn, there's a lot of people in the UK that don't like Conor Benn. And I was telling Pops this: if Pete Dobson beats Conor Benn, he's all of a sudden going to have a little bit of a fan base in the UK. Yeah, he'll be a hero to a lot of people in the UK. Right. So then you can bring Pete over there. So to be honest with you, I mean, I think the Eubank fight is still something that Eddie Hearn wants to do because that fight would literally be one of the biggest events in British sports history. But if there's no pathway to make that fight in the UK, right, then who knows what he's thinking. But gotta remember too, Eddie Hearn's getting that A-Rab money now. So he's getting that A-Rab money. He's getting that A-Rab money. I'm doing a little dance. Yeah. So that fight, being Ben versus Eubank Jr. doesn't got to be in the UK. No, Turkey it can be in Saudi. It can be in Saudi. I'm sure Turkey, Stylistic put the money up for it. You can still promote the hell out of it on Sky Sports or not Sky Sports, DAZN and whatnot, and it'll still turn over a profit. People in the UK will still tune into it. Of course. So now that I'm talking about it a lot, I think of course, Eddie Hearn wants Conor Benn to win. But I'm just telling you, I don't think Eddie Hearn's gonna be as heartbroken as some of you guys think if he does lose. It's done. That's good luck to both fighters. Good luck to both of them. Good fight. Let me see. There's other things to talk about. There's so many other things to talk about, and I'm gonna talk about them because I know you guys came here not just to hear about Pete Dobson and Conor Benn, but y'all wanted to hear about the news and boxing and Pops. There's some things in the news you may have not even heard about. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now in advance. What I'm about to put on the screen. This is not a joke. Okay. This is not a drill. This guy really called this fighter out. Okay. And he really wants to fight this guy. You got any guess as to what it could be?
I have no clue. Okay. So you never know. Look.
Go ahead and read that.
Ryan Garcia back in negotiations with Devin Haney, calls out Now, what is wrong with?
I'll play the actual video. Look, so today Ryan Garcia went ahead.
This guy.
That's how you listen. That's how you know the monster is becoming a big star because it's already crazy that the guys at 130 and 35 are calling him. Now 140.
Crazy.
Now 140. Look. Just you guys. This is Ryan Garcia today talking about fighting Inoue. Have a listen.
Because I believe Inoue can become a multiple weight world champion. So I'm thinking, what if one day we fight at 140? I'm talking about future, and we do it in Japan. It'll be huge, huge. Mark my words. If it somehow plays out that way, I think that fight will be one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time. Remember, I just said that.
You got any thoughts you want to add to that?
I'm just gonna pray for Garcia, man. He's jumping the gun too much. He's going from here, he's going from there. I want this fighter, and then he's calling out some other fighter. He did that before. He doesn't know what he really wants. I don't know. I'm not gonna believe this until it actually happens. I just think this is a whole bunch of minutia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talk that vocabulary, Pops.
There's a whole bunch of minutia, and I don't know what direction he's really going. What is this all about? The other fight you called out, I forgot who it was. You talking about Devin Haney. Then you got tired of that, and he wasn't worthy. Then you went to Rolly, and now you're gonna come back to top it up with cherry on the top, and now you want to call Devin Haney, talk to Devin Haney again, and you're calling out Hanoi. Slow your roll, my brother. Slow your roll.
What did The Rock say back in the day? Know your role and shut your mouth.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm just saying, know your role. Come on, man.
But look, I wanted to touch on a little bit on that. I mean, obviously, look, we know Ryan Garcia. He's all over the place.
God bless him. God bless him.
Look, I like him.
I'm just saying.
I like the guy.
Man. How you gonna call one fight and already calling somebody else out? Come on.
But look, let me see. So supposedly Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney are back in negotiations. I was reading that the date is probably here. I'm putting on screen for you guys. This what's going on for the fine folks out there. Make sure you smash that like button. We're here, the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. This is what's being discussed. So it says right here, and I quote Ryan Garcia to Fight Hype. I don't want to say anything before it's signed, but we are back in talks. Devin Haney will be destroyed, and his daddy's gonna help him. And then Devin on his Twitter, on his profile, he had went ahead and said that the date that's being proposed right now is actually a very infamous day. You know that is, Pops.
No.
It's actually a holiday to a lot of people.
Is it?
It's 420, the National Weed Smoking Day. Everybody.
That's exactly what I'm just joking with Ryan Garcia is doing the way he's coming up with these comments. To be honest, I no disrespect to him. I just like, dude, get some stability. What you're saying.
And you know what? I want to say this right now. I mean, look, that's cool. They're back in negotiations with Haney. I want to kind of pivot back into the Inoue talk a little bit because you mean to tell me, like, you at 140, why don't you want to fight the other? Why don't he fight the other Japanese 140 pounders and 147 pounders? Now, look, at 140, you got Andy Hiroka, who I believe, in fact, hold on, let's pull up the rankings. Let's be factual here. Hold on. I want to pull up the rankings. I want to know if this dude is ranked anywhere near Andy Hiroka. What the hell is this dude Andy ranked? So Andy is ranked 12 in the IBF. So look, you want to fight Japanese people, Ryan? Boom. There you go. Andy Hiroka. He's number 12 in the IBF. You number 5 in the IBF. So why don't you fight him while Inoue's way down there at 122 and 126? And why don't you start, if that's something you really want to do, Ryan, listen, a true school advisory tip once again, free of charge. Take it and you'll be all right. If you really want to build towards that ridiculous catastrophe of a fight,
You can't even make that.
the circus show or fight,
I just thought about that. He
can't make that way.
It make no sense what he's talking about.
But hypothetically, if he did,
yeah,
the best way to go about it, Ryan, would be to start fighting some Japanese people. And you got one ranked right in your weight class. He's a good fighter. He's undefeated. You know, Andy Hiroka, southpaw, comes forward. You know, gonna throw punches. Gonna make for a good fight.
But he's not gonna make.
And look. If you really want to get ambitious, Ryan, if you really want to get ambitious, because I keep saying these guys don't want to fight him. You need to go fight Jin Sasaki.
There you go.
Stop ducking Jin Sasaki. You know,
and he's around your weight class, right? So yeah,
he's at 47.
So
he's fought at 40 before. So look, you got Andy Hiroka.
Yeah,
you got Jin Sasaki. And if you want to pick on somebody smaller and bring him up in weight, like you got Shoichiro Yoshino there at 135. I'm sure if the money was right, he'd come and fight you too. So my thing is, look, you worried about Inoue, you clout chasing Inoue. If you're really serious about it, fight some Japanese people.
Yeah,
fight some Japanese fighters.
I told you, I know his name to get whatever, exposure or whatever. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think that right there just really tell. I didn't think about it until what you were saying. Like, Inoue, what is he one?
He turned pro at 108.
Yeah, but I'm saying
they wanted to do the Manny Pacquiao, go to 140.
This guy, I'm sorry to tell you, stop smoking on that day if you are smoking 420 because you don't need more help than that, because I don't think you're just talking nonsense, guy. Come on.
Yeah, Next Gen says, I don't think it's anything more than Ryan Garcia just planting seeds. And then he said, yeah, look, BT, as crazy as it sounds, we got to remember, Ryan got stopped to the body by the little Mongolian dude, and we know especially it's a body attack. It's a stretch, but I definitely watch it.
Yeah, for sure. He got that right.
So we'll see how it goes, man.
That's not happening.
But Ryan Garcia, he's doing his thing. He's quote unquote planting season cloud chasing. Last thing about this, right? Because getting back to Devin Haney,
right?
If them two fought next, like what do you think about that fight? Because you've seen what Devin could do at 40 now against Prograis. Ryan.
I don't know what to think of Ryan anymore. Really, I don't.
But that matchup, Ryan and Devin.
I'm riding with that jab, that straight
Devin
jab.
Haney?
With Devin Haney.
Skills, the base.
Yeah, I'm riding more for him. I see him as a cleaner fighter. I see all this stuff that we've been hearing about Ryan. Yes, he's not the other guy. First of all, in boxing, what they say happens mental, and the 75% is mental. The other one's 25%. Right now, in my opinion, I don't think Garcia's ever had that state of mind to go into a fight and do what he's supposed to do. And fighting a caliber fighter in Devin Haney, I say caliber fighter, we give him respect because of his skills. I think Devin Haney will probably beat him. He's not stable up here.
We'll see how it goes, man. It should be interesting. Next Gen Comeback TV says Ryan Garcia could be Inoue's Margarito fight like Manny. Oh, man, Manny did him dirty. Yeah. That's probably the best comparison we could give, you know? And Big Supreme says, yeah, Inoue can stop Bulls. They not beating him. Inoue versus Tank is more realistic. I would agree. That's a lot more realistic than Ryan versus Inoue. That's like that. You see what Crawford and Canelo have done to boxing. Crawford and Canelo and Charlo and Canelo and all these like circus fights that Canelo's either been part of or doing now. Like everything is permissible. Anything goes at this point. We're nothing short of a free for all.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So. Yeah, man. Now, look, somebody had asked me about it, and it was part of the show, and I wanted to talk about this because I actually thought this is good news. We talk a lot in boxing about bad news. We talk a lot in boxing about things we don't like. How about we talk about some things that we do like?
Right.
Okay. Now, shout out to the fine folks. Tip of the cap goes to the fine folks of Overtime Boxing last year. They made their way into boxing.
Right.
Overtime is like a social media platform. They're very big in basketball.
Okay.
And they started getting into boxing last year. They bought some dates on DAZN. And I like the shows. They were good competitive shows, weekday shows.
Right.
It's helped fighters already, like Elijah Pierce do well for themselves and whatnot. So I liked Overtime Boxing, and I was waiting for this kind of announcement that Overtime Boxing would be coming back. And by and large, here we are. Overtime Boxing is back. They've announced their 2024 schedule. And here's the official report from the main man, Mike Coppinger. He said it says that they're going to do 8 shows in 2024. So 8 dates, time slots, dates for fighters to go in there and make an impression. It's always good. Whenever there's dates in boxing, spread around the love, spread around the TV time, because these fighters need to get developed and
so they get more opportunity to
get more exposure so they can move up and stay active. A lot of fighters ain't active right now, so a lot of fighters need fights. So good to see Overtime Boxing giving their fighters a platform to do the thing. But more interestingly enough, they also announced that they're going to be doing a tournament at 154.
Wow.
And in the tournament, it's going to be a single elimination tournament at 154. It begins April 19th, and the final 2 boxers will compete for a promotional contract with Overtime Boxing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And a cash prize.
I like that.
So we need more. Listen, I like things like this in boxing where I like tournaments. Things like the World Boxing Super Series, even the Super 6, it gives just so long as they keep the tournaments organized.
Yeah.
I like tournaments in boxing because there's no, I don't want to fight him. That's not a good fight for me. It brings you back to the essence of what boxing when you were an amateur. So
I think it's good because giving another opportunity for these fighters that people unknown or people that don't think they're anything come in there and show what they're really all about.
Absolutely. So there's that. And then the guy that runs Overtime Boxing, a guy named Brandon Rhodes, he had some quotes. I wanted to read you guys the quotes. He stated the following, and I quote, "In a sport where people can flame out quickly, we've exceeded the industry's expectations in year one, and now we're doubling down. We're committed to doing things differently for the fans, for the fighters, and for the sport as a whole." So it looks like for those of you out there, Overtime Boxing is not going to be like Triller. It's not going to be like Ring City USA. They're here, and it looks like, at least for 2024, they're going to be here to stay.
So the boxers just walk in if they want to go into tournament, or they pick out the boxes? Or
I'm not sure how that works. I'm sure they got their boxing people that go and they scout talent and whatnot. But look, it's a good idea. I hope. I'm looking very forward to the tournament. I'm looking forward to seeing who they announce. I'm gonna cover it. And the good thing about Overtime Boxing, Pops, is they're right there in Atlanta.
Holy crap.
So Atlanta's only still. I mean, I've only been to Atlanta once, but this will give me a good excuse to go to Atlanta,
check it out,
cover some of these shows, give you guys some great interviews, and do those kind of things. So listen, just add it to the agenda of things we're gonna do in 2024 here on True School Sports. But that's the news. Overtime Boxing announces a 2024 schedule.
I like that. 8
boxers in a 154-pound tournament. Good for the sport. And this next story, guys, and shout out to my main man. Tip of the cap goes to my main man, Philly in the building. Wayne Witherspoon, a good longtime viewer of the channel. All right. Last story. This is the last story of this live, and then we're gonna wrap it up and get up on out of here.
He travels too,
because I gotta get to the airport soon.
Go to the bank too.
I got a little bank. Listen, this is actually a True School exclusive. This is a True School exclusive.
Right.
Now I know
Wiggins, baby.
I know you guys. Some people may know who these guys are. Some people may not know who they are. Right. But I think this is relevant to the welterweight division, and I wanted to highlight it to you guys. You guys know, I know Trayshawn Wiggins really well. I literally pressed WBA President Gilberto Mendoza to try to get his ranking higher. And to their credit,
it worked.
They bumped him from 15 to 12. So tip of the cap goes to Gilberto Mendoza and the WBA for doing that. Now, a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, Trayshawn Wiggins went on Instagram and he called out every fighter in the top 15 of the WBA rankings, all of them, right? And only one fighter responded, and it was a guy that I never heard of at that time, and his name was Conor Walker. Right? So I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show. I got the receipts.
Yeah,
I got the receipts for you guys. All right. So Conor Walker. So these are my messages with Trayshawn Wiggins. So this is from December 18th, 2023, and he said, "We got a bite." And as you guys can see, I put it on the screen. This is Conor Walker telling Trayshawn Wiggins, "Yo, champ." He messaged Trayshawn Wiggins back in December of 2018. I'm setting the stage for you guys, so just be patient with me. All right. And I told him he's number 9, so it makes sense. I just watched 2 minutes of him. That's a very good fight for you. And then Trayshawn told me that he said he would put his title up the line to LOL. I got a title as well, but he has a scheduled fight in February. But afterwards, he said he's definitely interested in making that fight happen. Not sure how serious he is. Only time will tell, right? Sure. So that was back about over a month ago. Now, just to give you guys a quick synopsis
of who he is,
who the hell Conor Walker is, because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a boxing nerd, but even I didn't know who Conor Walker was, so I had to do my own homework on Conor Walker.
Right.
He's coming to you guys live and direct from a part of the UK I'm very familiar with. I spent some time there when I was out there. He's from Wolverhampton, which ain't too far from West Brom, which ain't too far from Birmingham. Shout out to the Black Country. Shout out to the Midlands, the whole Midlands, right?
Talk to UK. UK stuff.
So he's 13-2. Yeah. You don't got a pretty record, 13-2-1, only 5 knockouts. Before you even look at the opposition, he looks like a domestic level British fighter.
Yeah. So
you got to almost ask yourself, how did he get in the rankings if he's got that kind of record, such a low weight KO ratio? So you go and you look at some of the guys he's beaten. So the only name I kind of know on his resume, and I know it vaguely, is Samuel and Tiwi, because I forgot who this guy fought, but I've seen him fight before.
Yeah.
Let me see, what did this guy fight? Just so I have my ducks in a row.
Right.
Who did this dude fought that I know he fought? Ecal Esserman. I saw. So this guy lost to Ecal Esserman, who was the former British champion. Conor Walker lost to this guy, right? So Conor Walker, and then I watched him fight. And I gotta be honest, he is a domestic level British fighter. Like, textbook fighter, 1-2 down the middle.
Yeah. Not
crazy speed, not crazy power, but a good, competent, solid professional fighter. Now he just fought January. He fought 3 days ago.
Yeah.
He just fought on that was it Crocker versus Felix undercard?
Right.
And he got a knockout against Lloyd Herman, whatever his name is, Jermaine or Herman. He was 9-0, right? So Trayshawn hit me up this morning, and he said, "BT,
Mhm.
You know, he was telling me about some of his plans for the future. Just messaging me out the blue, telling me some of his plans for the future." And we'll go to Trayshawn Wiggins. And he said, you know, things he wanted to do. And and then he said, you know, he wanted to call out Conor Walker again. And he asked me, he said, "BT, do you know how to make a picture? Like, do you know how to make a picture to where I could post it on Instagram of me and him so I can call him out?" So I said, "Yeah, Trayshawn, I'll do that."
Anything for you.
I said, "I'll do that for you, Trayshawn." It took me 5 minutes. You know, I made this little thumbnail, which I'm probably gonna use for this exact video when I clip it.
Yeah.
I made this thumbnail for him. I made it for him.
Might be a legendary.
I made it for him, right? So you got Trayshawn Wiggins there, you got Conor Walker there, and Conor Walker is the number 8. Just so you guys know, he's the number 8 WBA contender. Trayshawn Wiggins is the number 12 WBA contender.
Okay.
So it makes sense. Conor Walker has, I think, let me see, what does he have? Conor Walker has the WBA International or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I made this for him. I made this for him, and he actually wound up, as you guys can see right here, posting it today on his Instagram.
Yeah, that's a legendary picture. Legendary.
And he said, "Congratulations on the win. What's up? Let's do this next." Conor Walker is definitely a good fight to make. Come get this fire, kid, right? Now, funny enough, I saw Conor Walker's response to what Trayshawn Wiggins was saying. And this is actually what it was. So I screenshot it and I sent it myself on my email. So he reposted it.
Yeah.
And Conor Walker said, "I must be doing something right. I'm getting the call outs now." So does that sound like somebody that want to fight or don't want to fight? How should I take that?
I'm not going to take like that, because if he came out calling him out the first time, that he initially came out and said he was going to do that. Now he comes out with this. Why don't you just say, "Let's make the fight happen"? You see here now you're trying to say, "Oh, well, now I must be doing something." Well, how about doing something right and get to the motherfucking point and fight him?
And my thing is this: shout out to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, we saw what he did with Pete Dobson and Conor Benn. He got no problems making the USA versus UK welterweight matchup. So if he did it once, he could do it again.
Aren't you going to see him this weekend?
And I'm going to see him this weekend. So I'm going to ask him about this.
Don't be surprised. You going to ask
Conor Walker, I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, he'll walk up to him.
So look, stylistically, it's a good fight for the division.
Yeah,
it's a good fight for the division. One thing we need more in all these divisions is the guys in the rankings fighting each other.
Yeah,
a lot of the guys in the rankings don't want to move because they don't want to lose their spot in the queue. You
can't say that forever either.
But look, both of them are very similar. They're Conor Walker don't got a real pretty record. Trayshawn got a loss he took early in his career because he was just taking whatever, bad management, the whole deal, right? But he's turned his career around. He's been getting some good knockouts recently. He's in the rankings. He's a good fighter. I think he's doing his best boxing now in his career.
Sure.
And he wants to fight those guys at the top. But the boxing world and the boxing industry, they say no. Trayshawn Wiggins can't fight those guys at the top right now. He needs to do more. And you know what he's doing? He's actually showing that he wants to fight He wants to fight the necessary guys. So the guys ranked in and around him to move up, to position himself to get those big fights against the big names of the division. And again, there's a process to these things. So I like that fight for the division. Conor Walker, I think good fundamentals. Experienced fighter. I think he'd have a very tough night to offer with Trayshawn Wiggins. Trayshawn Wiggins he's a tall southpaw. He's rangy. He's got sneaky punching power, athletic, good IQ. He's got really good gym experience. We were talking about gym experience earlier with Pete Dobson. I mean, gym experience. He's knocked out a guy that wanted to become a world champion. He fought Jason Sosa and knocked Jason Sosa out in one round because when he was early in his career, Russell Peltz tried to get him beat and brought him in on short notice to fight Jason Sosa, and then that was a bad decision, and Jason Sosa got knocked the hell out. But Jason Sosa went out to become world champion. He's fought and mixed it up with some good guys, good fighters. Mike Williams, the guy that just beat up on Luis Feliciano on Pro Box. Right. He fought Michael Williams to a draw. Michael Williams is good. Michael Williams is a world-class fighter. Got a draw with him in that fight. He's beating some good. Beat Samuel Teo. Rest in peace to him. Who was always tough and game and formidable. So look, I say all that to say, this fight I don't think could headline no big card. But look, if Eddie wants to bring Conor Benn back to the States, or if there's ever like a show in the UK, this could be a really good fight on an undercard
to get him going and
get him back. Look, not for nothing. He ain't dead yet. Don King did 4 shows last year. Trayshawn Wiggins is a Don King fighter, so it would present Eddie Hearn the unique opportunity to promote with one of the legends of boxing, Don King.
Great.
So
That'd be great.
It'd be interesting.
But I know one thing. We know Ben is going to see Eddie Hearn, and if I know my son right, if you get a conversation with him, he's going to ask him.
Yeah, so it's going to be what it's going to
be.
Good luck. I like that fight. Let's go ahead. Now, Daniel Rubin, shout out to, again, tip of the cap to Pro Box. He says, "Where are you at?" All caps. "We are waiting on you down here." Yeah, man, I'm flying in tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow morning. So as soon as I get in the Uber from the airport to go down to the illustrious, the incomparable Pro Box Event Center, I'll give you a phone call and I'll let you know that I'm gonna be there. But tomorrow I'll be there.
So I'm gonna go live for the Pro Box.
And Pops will go live. Pops can't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Pops is gonna go live for the fight here
want me to?
on the channel. And yes, I do want you to, because the boxer won't need to know about Angelo Leo.
Yeah.
They need to know about Mike Planillo. They need to know about Pro Box. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Pops go live for the fight.
The boss want me to do it, I'll do it for
That's
him.
what it's gonna be. But I'm looking forward to it. You know, Daniel said it best.
Like I say, the program in mind now, we have tomorrow. When is it, Friday? No, tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh yeah, Pro Box tomorrow. I'll go live for that. Then we have the weekend. We have what's it?
I'll do the program minor.
Yeah, okay.
So tomorrow, Angelo Leo versus Mike Planillo. Pops will go live for it. I'll be at the fight. And I got your text, Daniel. I'm gonna respond to you as soon as it's live. I'm gonna end it in about 5 minutes. I'll possibly live for Angelo Leo versus Mike Planillo
And
tomorrow. And Saturday, possibly live for Pete Dobson versus Conor Benn.
Sure. I'll be
there. I'll be at Conor Benn versus Pete Dobson. I'll be at TFE versus Min Ortiz. And
man, I can't wait.
You know, next I think it was next Wednesday, the 7th or the 6th. I'm interviewing Shocky Foster on here. He'll be here.
Shocky, baby, go to the real channel.
And I'm gonna answer like 2 more questions. I'm gonna get up on out of here.
Yeah.
And I want to acknowledge this comment because Howard's commented about 15 times. He said, "BT, are you gonna watch the PBC press conference tomorrow?"
He won't, but I will.
It depends on what time it is. You know, tomorrow. Listen, Hyro, the real work starts tomorrow. So PBC, they picked the wrong day to put the press conference because I'm gonna be in Plant City at Pro Box for Angelo Leo. It's serious business.
Time to grind now.
The True School Road Show begins.
Vacation is over.
And so, like, I can't. I mean, look, if I see it.
When is it? When is it?
If I see it live, cool. If I don't see it, I'll catch the playback. Pop's gonna watch it.
Yeah, I watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it, but I'm not BT. I got you, Haro. I know. But I know I'm gonna get for you this year. I'm gonna get Brendan to make me a nice big picture with Al Heyman.
Yep.
And I put PBC just for you. I promise you. I promise you.
Yeah. And then Henry Vault says, BT, will we see Oshaki Foster versus Vaquero Navarrete?
Oh, that'd be a good fight
this year. Good fight. I think that's gotta be the way they go. I mean, first of all, Oshaki gotta get past. He
a tough fight.
You gotta go ahead and get past what's his name?
I don't know who's fighting right now. Can't think of his name.
Abraham Nova.
Yeah, Nova, Puerto Rico.
But no, you know what? No, I don't think it happens because Navarrete's at 35.
Is he?
He's at 35. He's fighting Dennis Berechek for a vacant belt. He's at 35. They're in different weight classes now. So
wow.
That fight.
You can come down, right? I'll go out. No.
I think he won't stay up there. So we'll see.
Listen,
we'll have Oshaki here, so y'all could ask him that yourself. Maybe he can give you guys some better insight into that. Yeah. Next week when I have him on. But listen, we gave you guys the itinerary. I'm gonna be out of town for probably like 3 weeks, so you may not see me and Pops like next to each other in a live for like 3 weeks. But Pop's gonna hold it down as usual. I'm gonna hold it down. You know, send me your prayers and your blessings. You know,
bring content to the channel.
Gonna be putting out a lot of content
up. So
I'm really excited about it, guys. I have not been outside of Florida for a minute since I got back from Japan. So this whole trip is very, very personal to me.
You predicted this last year, or you would tell me around this time my stuff's gonna start working.
Yeah.
And it's going. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I'm proud of him.
So look, you guys take care. Pete, shout out to Pete Dobson, shout out to Conor Benn.
Yep, shout out.
And keep supporting the channel, keep supporting all the great things we got going on here on True School Sports. Subscribe, the whole 9 yards. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.